to it. Okay, hello everyone. So tonight I'm doing a training on why you're not losing weight. The subtitle is Secrets to Female Fat Loss in Your 30s, 40s, 50s, and Beyond, because let's face it, everything changes when you hit those late 30s, and then it just keeps changing as you get to the 40s, 50s, 60s. My name is Annie Dubose, formerly Trimberger. I am in the midst of changing it. So half my documents say Trimberger, the other half say Dubose, and I never know what name anything is under. But what's not changing is the name of my business, The Dream Lab. I am a life and health coach, and I work with female business owners, entrepreneurs, and ambitious professionals. And I work exclusively with women over 30 as both a health and life coach. So I work on nutrition, mindset, stress management, movement, all those kinds of things. And before I forget to say it at the end, I just want to mention right now, I'm doing a series of these trainings coming up. This one's Tuesday night, but the rest of the Monday nights in April. So one's going to be on hormonal health and how that affects your weight loss and fat loss goals. And one is going to be on intentional eating, which is my own style of eating that I coach my clients on and really help them to lose weight, be confident, feel good in their body, enjoy their food, enjoy their life, and to do it all while, having a demanding career, balancing family, community obligations, and all that. So those 3 free trainings, this one plus those 2, are coming up. And also, in case I forget to say it at the end, I'm taking on just one new one-on-one client for April. And then I'll be running another spring/summer session of my signature group coaching program, the Nourish Project, starting in the beginning of May. So that's how you can work with me if you're interested. But without further ado, let's talk about what we came here for, which is why you're not losing weight. And that is the most frustrating thing in the world, when you feel like you're doing everything right and you're trying so hard and you're not seeing any results. So let me share my screen to the slides and we will get right to it. Okay. I am going to dive right in here. So who this training is for, talked a little bit about that. So women over 30, and not just, around 30, but over 30, 40, 50, 60s and beyond, who are struggling to lose weight. You're frustrated and you're sick of trying. You are good at losing weight, like you lose the 10 pounds, but then you gain the 10 pounds back, and then you lose the 10 pounds and then you gain 15 pounds back, and that kind of like back and forth. Or you feel like you're actually doing a lot of things right and you're just not seeing any results. Most of my clients come to me with that. Most of my clients are, pretty fit and active, very smart, very accomplished, and they feel like they're doing pretty much everything right. And they're just super frustrated and they're confused because there's so much misinformation and different conflicting information out there. Like, should I do paleo? Should I do keto? Should I do a juice cleanse, or should I be vegan? Like, there's so much out there, and it's mind-boggling. So my goal is to simplify that and give you guys an actual answer based on science and a lot of experience coaching women to the results that they want. So some practical tips as well. I want to share a couple of reasons I'm so passionate about this. Number one, I kind of mentioned this. I get the same questions on repeat from women day after day, all the time. And they're the 4 big ones that I'm going to talk about tonight. I'm eating super low calorie. How come I'm not losing weight? I'm eating really healthy. I'm eating super clean. How come I'm not losing weight? I'm exercising all the time. How come I can't lose this weight? Or the worst, I'm doing all these things. I'm eating right. I'm eating the right amount. I'm exercising. And I still cannot lose these 10 or 20 or 5 pounds or whatever money it is. So that information is confusing. There's so much conflicting information out there. So I hate seeing women who are trying to do the right thing, trying to put that effort in. Because I know how busy you all are. We don't have time to be trying the wrong thing, or spending a lot of effort or willpower doing something that's not working. So that makes me really upset. And I want to get the right information out there, what's going to get you the results that you want. Second reason that I'm so passionate about this and why I work exclusively with women is because most of the information that's out there in the universe, all the recommendations for fitness, nutrition, fat loss, so world domination, all that stuff is based on research on men's bodies. Up until 1994, it was actually illegal for women to participate in clinical studies. And the reason was because women's bodies are complicated. We go through monthly menstrual cycle, and then as we go through life, we go through puberty, perimenopause, menopause, not to mention maybe a pregnancy or two thrown in there. So women's bodies are really complicated. The body chemistry and our hormones are always changing. And so what researchers said was, that's too complicated. We're just going to study men, to the extent that they only do male mice as well, because female mice are too complicated. So I have scoured articles and podcasts and basically everything I can find out there about how the women's body actually works and what we need. And it's very different from men. So a lot of times the advice that's out there will work for men because it's based on research done on men. And so if you've ever done a diet with your husband, or done the same thing and he sees immediate results in or a male partner, coworker, or whatever, it's because the research is done on men, and then it's targeted towards women. It's marketed towards women because women are the ones purchasing the diets, the weight loss solutions, but it doesn't work because it's researched on men. So I want women to know what is going to work for you. And I really encourage you to join me, especially from the next training I'm going to do. That's going to be just about women's hormonal health and how that all connects to your fat loss and weight loss goals. I'll get into it a little bit tonight, but really go in depth on that one. And then the last reason is, like Kelly mentioned, what used to work doesn't work anymore. And maybe in your 20s, you could just bounce back from a vacation or a weekend or even the whole summer just by buckling down a little bit or going for a couple extra workouts. That doesn't work anymore once you get to your late 30s, once we shift into perimenopause, which, as much as no one likes to talk about it, is happening in our late 30s, early 40s at the earliest. And so many women just think, I'm going to try harder. I'm going to have more willpower. And if it doesn't work, it's my fault. And then they go in this kind of guilt shame spiral where they think it's their fault because they're not good enough, or they're not trying hard enough, or they don't have enough willpower, when in fact they don't know that they need to do something completely different, because just cutting calories and doing hard workouts isn't going to cut it anymore. That works when you're in your 20s. But it doesn't when you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s. You have to do a different approach. And that's also really important information that's not really out there, and that's really tied to the fact that all the research is done on men. And this is specifically to women because men go through puberty, their hormones adjust then, and they have a straight line absolutely all the way across until they have a similar thing to menopause called andropause, where their hormones decrease, but it's much less tumultuous than menopause. And in between, it's just a straight line of balanced hormones. Whereas women, once we hit 30s, it's always changing, and it changes in your 30s, it changes again in your 40s, again in your 50s. So it's really important to know those different things. Okay, any questions? I'm going to pause right there for any questions before I launch into the first of my life-changing secrets here. No, okay, good. I mean, not good. If you guys have questions anytime, but I'm going to just keep rolling here. Okay, so first question I get, and the first secret I'm going to share is, I get this question all the time. Help, I'm eating clean, or you can fill in the blank. I eat healthy, or I'm doing keto, or I'm doing paleo, or I'm vegan, or whatever way that you're eating. And I still can't lose weight. I'm trying to lose weight. I'm doing this thing and it's not working. And so the secret is, and you probably heard this phrase, you can't out exercise a bad diet. But part B of that secret is what I mean by a bad diet. And I don't mean that there's anything wrong with eating clean or eating healthy or eating paleo. It means, what I mean is that if you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit, period. That is the only way to do it. And the tricky thing is, the only way to know if you're in a calorie deficit is if you're losing weight. So it's a sort of complicated cycle where you really have to pay attention to what you're putting in your body and how your body is responding. So if you're not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit. No matter how clean you're eating, no matter if you're doing keto, no matter if you're, vegan or anything else, it is not going to help you lose weight if you're in a caloric surplus. And it can be really easy to eat in a calorie surplus if you're eating things that you think are, quote unquote, healthy, like avocado. Like there's tons of calories in avocado, or like full fat Greek yogurt, or any kinds of food, or especially if you're eating keto sometimes and you're eating really high fat, because now you heard fat is good for you. And I'm not here to say that there's anything wrong with fat. In fact, I teach all my clients to eat balanced meals with a good amount of protein and a moderate amount of fat and carbohydrates. Carbohydrates also are not the devil. You need all three for your body to be happy. But none of those diets is a magic pill for fat loss or for weight loss. You have to be in a calorie deficit. Some people, they tell me I'm trying intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, also not a magic pill. And what intermittent fasting is, if you're not familiar with it, is having a restricted time period of when you're eating during the day. So maybe you eat only from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or maybe from noon to 8 p.m. Some people, that helps them eat fewer calories. Some people, they totally bounce back and binge or get hangry during that restricted time period. So even though they're only eating for 8 hours, you're eating in a calorie surplus during those hours, and then you're not losing weight. Another way might be if someone is sort of a work week dieter and they think, oh, I'm really good Monday through Friday. Like that is what I plan my meals, and I eat all salads, and I, don't drink alcohol, but then I just let loose a little bit on the weekend. Well, if you start on Friday happy hour, go through till Sunday night pizza, that is like a third of your week, right? That is like where you could be in a calorie deficit that whole work week, and then put yourself in actually a surplus over the weekend, and all of your hard work is erased by what you're doing over the weekend, because you just think, oh, it's just the weekend, or it's just a meal or two. So that is secret number one, is that you have to be in a calorie deficit. There's no magic pill, keto, paleo, vegan, intermittent fasting. None of those are going to help you lose weight. Unless you happen to also be in a deficit while you're eating on that diet. So when I coach my clients, I teach them how to calculate their macros so they know. And when I say macros, that's how much protein, carbs, and fat you need to be eating, during the day. And I teach them how to calculate for themselves how much they need based on their goals, and then learn how to track it so that they can actually really know if they're in a deficit or not, and then how to estimate it so they don't have to spend the whole rest of their life tracking everything super closely. But you have to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. None of these diets that advertise as like the magic solution, none of them are. They only work if they happen to be in a deficit. Okay, so that's the first one. Any questions about that before I move on?
How do you balance being in a deficit and counting without getting obsessive?
That is a really good question. And it can be hard, if that's your personality or you've had experience with disordered eating. But I think one way that it really works well is by sort of automating your food so that you're not spending your whole time tracking it, but this is what I like to eat for breakfast, lunch, and snack. And it works for me. It fits my macros. I like this food. And then you kind of set it and forget it. Like I always like to think of Steve Jobs always wore a uniform of like black turtlenecks to avoid decision fatigue, right? He didn't even have to think about it. So if you just remove all those decisions, it's less thinking about the food, and then you don't have to track it so closely because you just know this is going to work for me. I also work with clients who don't really want to track so closely, don't want to like weigh and measure and track everything, on how to build a macro balanced plate using what I call the hand formula. So you should have a palm size of protein, a fist size of carbs, a thumb size of fat, and then a big 2 handfuls of veggies. And so that's the way to do it too, is just like thinking about, okay, am I building my plate in a way that's going to fuel my body? And then I think the third thing is just the mindset. I've had a lot of clients say that, in our time of working together, they've really shifted their mindset to think about how are they nourishing their body? How are they fueling their body? How are they giving it what it needs? And the weight loss happens when your body is happy, when it's nourished, when it's relaxed. So because they're thinking about how am I nourishing my body? Am I giving it the fuel it needs? They're not focused so much on the weight loss, but it happens. And that's the magic part. Does that answer your question, Amy?
Yep. Thank you.
Good. Okay, awesome. Okay, question number 2. Okay, this is probably the most frustrating of anyone I deal with. And this is help. I'm eating literally 1,200 calories a day and I still can't lose weight, or maybe 1,300 or maybe 1,500 or whatever. But the point is, I'm eating super low calorie. I don't think I can even eat any less, and I still cannot lose this weight. And this is my favorite answer to give clients. And the secret is, you have to eat more. You get to eat more. You have to fuel and nourish your body for it to feel safe. And when it feels safe, it will release the stored fat. Our metabolism, the reason, I won't go super in depth into this, but the reason is because our metabolism isn't just a robot. It adjusts and adapts to whatever is going on to help us survive. And over hundreds of years of evolution, the primary threat that we faced was starvation. It could be from winter, it could be from a famine, it could be from attack, it could be from any number of things. So our body's response to survive is that when it gets less calories, the metabolism slows down. And I see so many women who have done say, this is the metabolism, and adjusts to what we give it. And this is the amount of calories we're giving your body. And if you want to lose weight, you have to be in a calorie deficit, right? That's rule number 1 I just talked about. But eventually so if you go in a calorie deficit to like right here, your metabolism is going to adapt sooner or later. It's going to say, oh, I'm only getting this many calories. I need to learn how to function on this many. So I'm going to slow down to right here. And then that's when the weight loss stops. And then what happens, either you get frustrated and you say, forget this diet, I'm going to have the whole thing of ice cream anyway, because it's not working. And then you bring your calories back up to here, and your metabolism's down here, and then you're back in a calorie surplus, and now your body's going to store it as body fat. Or you say, oh my gosh, I stopped losing weight. I need to eat less. I need to cut my calories again. So you cut your calories again. Now, maybe you went from 2000 to 1800. Now you go from 1800 to 1600 and you start losing weight again. And then that slows down. And then again, what do? You throw in the towel, or you cut more. I mean, there's only, a couple options there. So I see so many women who cut, and they're down here and they're saying, I have no energy. I don't think I have no appetite. I don't think I can really eat that much less, but I try to eat really healthy. And the answer is, we have to build up your metabolism back up to here. So it is like a roaring fire again. Your metabolism is like a fire that you want to keep burning all the time. And if you let it burn down, it's going to slow down, but you can build it back up. So we are so programmed, especially as women, that if you want to lose weight, you have to cut calories. You want to lose weight, you have to cut calories. And so it can be really scary to trust me. And when I say, if you want to lose weight, you're going to have to eat a lot more. But as I would say, probably a third to a half of my clients actually have to do that. And one of them, one of those clients who actually was really successful, it's called a reverse diet, where we focus on building back up the metabolism so that it can feel safe and comfortable and healthy enough to actually shed those calories, those body fat. Over 12 weeks of working together in the Nourish Project, we have increased her calories 700 calories per day. And she's lost like maybe 8 pounds, but she's lost 4% body fat. That's with increasing up 700 calories a day. The last time I did the Nourish Project before this, I had 2 of my clients who we essentially doubled their calories. And they both lost 10 pounds because their body was in starvation mode. It was operating at the lowest possible energy level. And they both said immediately their energy skyrocketed, their mood, their patience. That was like the immediate result of increasing those calories. But then they also saw the result of losing pounds, losing inches, because their body finally felt comfortable enough that it wasn't in danger of being starved. It had enough body fat. It had enough calories coming in on a regular basis that it could release the body fat that it had stored. So I cannot promise that everyone will get to eat 700 more calories a day, but it is much more common than you would think. I would say a third to a half of my clients, that is how we start. And if you ever hear me talking about it or writing about it, it's called a reverse diet, where we're slowly and very intentionally building up those calories, because what you can't do is just like jump it up there, because then your body's going to go into shock and just store that all as body fat. So just like when you have a campfire that's burned down, you can't just dump a log on it, right? You have to, restart it with some twigs and some kindling, and then some bigger sticks and some bigger sticks. And then once you have that roaring fire, then you just keep it going. And that is exactly what we can do with your metabolism. Any questions about that? Okay. Okay. So secret number 3. Question, another question I get is, okay, I'm eating right. I think I'm eating right. I'm eating not too much, not too little, lots of protein, lots of healthy food. I still can't lose weight. I'm exercising all the time. The secret is your workouts could be completely sabotaging your health and your weight loss goals. The second part of the secret is that working out is not enough. And this is especially true as we get older. So let me talk about the first part of it. Working out, a lot of people come to me doing all kinds of cardio. And, whether it's like running or jogging or elliptical, or now people are really into high intensity cardio like Peloton, F45, Orange Theory, that kind of stuff. That is one of those things that when we're in our 20s and early 30s and our body is able to handle all kinds of stress, it's great. Those workouts are great. And they're really advertised and marketed as they're burning the most calories, and like it's a combo of everything. So it's the best workout you can do. It does burn a lot of calories during that workout. However, it's super stressful on your body. And most of the women that I work with, 30s and older, taking care of a family, whether it's kids or parents or both of them, demanding career, active in the community, you do not need more stress, especially as you're going into perimenopause, which I will talk about super in depth next week. But that also, when you're in perimenopause and postmenopause, you need to be doing everything to minimize your stress, because the body just interprets stress as stress. It doesn't know that we're not being starved due to famine, like the way we evolved. It doesn't know, oh, I'm stressed because I have emails coming in from my boss and clients all the time because these kids are screaming and we're in COVID and we're going to war and there's inflation and the news is on. And then on top of that, I'm doing this super stressful workout. Our body just knows you're stressed. So what it's going to do again, just like when it thought it was being starved, the low calorie is going to hold on to any stored body fat because it doesn't know what's coming. It doesn't know why it's under so much stress. And it's just going to prepare for whatever's coming by holding on to those stored body fat. So, but the solution is instead is shifting those workouts to strength training, traditional strength training, not cardio, not high intensity cardio or interval training is the best form of exercise of workouts for women 30 and older. So there's a couple different reasons why it's so good, but it is good on so many levels. So one reason is because strength training builds up your metabolism. It raises your metabolism by 8 to 9% for up to 72 hours. Cardio raises your metabolism during the time you're doing it. And as soon as you stop, that also stops, that effect stops. Not only that, but strength training, if you're eating enough calories and you're nourishing your body, is going to help your body build muscle, which is really, really important in long-term health, in aging well, and also in keeping your metabolism up. So the goal really is to have as much muscle on your frame as possible. And I know that can sound a little scary to women who, think back to like 80s stereotypes, like, oh, it's going to make me look like a man, or it's going to make me look like Hulk Hogan. I promise you it is not, no matter how hard you work. As a woman, our body is just different than men. And that muscle is going to make us look strong and toned and fit and healthy and lean and sexy and all those goals that everyone has. It is not going to make you look like a big, bulky bodybuilder. Even if that was your goal, it would be really, really hard. Okay. So if you take nothing else away from hearing me talk tonight, please make building muscle one of your biggest health goals, because it will pay dividends for years to come. It's like investing in your metabolic 401k. So the more muscle you put on your frame, the more it keeps that metabolism up, and then it keeps that burning fire roaring, like I was talking about. Again, it's going to want fuel to keep that muscle on your frame. It requires more energy even at rest. So even if you're not working out, if you're sitting around watching TV, your metabolism is still going to be higher. It's essentially turning your body into a lean, mean, fat building machine. Versus cardio, what cardio does is it gives your body the signal that it needs to be less. It needs to shed whatever it can to make it lighter, which might sound good, like if you think lighter equals weight loss. But what cardio is doing is telling your body to shed muscle and body fat and anything it can. And you really want to keep that muscle, preserve that muscle, because it is so good for you. And it keeps your metabolism up and keeps you strong and keeps you agile. So by doing more strength training and less cardio, it's going to pay tons of dividends. Plus, I like to say, I love lifting. And one of the things I love about it is you kind of get that swagger when you walk out of the weight room, like, yeah, I did that hard workout. I've never seen anyone get off an elliptical and be like, yeah, it just kind of makes you feel amazing, like a badass. The second part of the exercise and movement secret is walking. And this is something, when I was in my 20s, when I was in college, I did anything to avoid walking, even though we lived on a super, walking friendly campus. But walking is really, truly magical. It decreases your stress, which thereby increases your metabolism. It burns calories. It is one of the only kind of forms of exercise and movement that decreases your stress, decreases your cortisol level, and increases your metabolism. Usually there's some kind of a trade-off of like being stressed, adding stress to your body, but having the benefits of the workout. So humans, like you may have heard this 10,000 step goal sort of pop into existence, last couple of years or so. And the reason for that number, it's not just made up. We're discovering that, our ancient ancestors, the ones that thrived and the one that's evolved to put us here today, they were designed to walk 3 to 5 miles at least every day. And it was just leisure walk through the woods, collecting berries, mushrooms, gathering water, whatever. It wasn't power walking. It wasn't mall walking. It's nothing like that. So that is what we need to recreate as we're trying to have the most optimal health and fitness. So it's strength training with, picking up heavy things and putting them back down, whatever is heavy to you. And there could be multiple ways to do that. You do not have to be like me and go to the barbell section of the gym and do, barbell back squats. You could do body weight stuff. Hopefully you can add a little bit more resistance. You can use the machines. Mom, I know you're working with a trainer to have her create a routine for you using the machines. Pilates is a good one if you're really not comfortable doing weights. One thing I really highly recommend for strength training, if you're not comfortable in the weight room by yourself, is Body Pump, which is a group lifting class at the Y. And it's really nice because it covers all the major muscle groups. So it really doesn't matter as long as you do something that is heavy for you and you pick it up and you put it back down. And then you get lots and lots and lots of what I like to call joyful movement. And the way we track that is by steps, but it could be gardening, it could be errands, it could be doing chores, it could be dancing, it could be lots of things. But just moving that body throughout the day is really going to help with so many things. It's going to decrease stress, increase your metabolism, boost your immune system, help you sleep better, increase your mood, decreases depression, anxiety, and boost your immune system, which, we're still in the middle of COVID. So that's always a winner. And it also helps with insulin sensitivity, which is just a fancy way of saying it helps your body absorb carbs and deal with carbs better. And I know we all love to eat carbs, so that's also a winner in my book. Let me see. Last thing about that is, so the good news is you can ditch the elliptical and like hours of cardio and slogging through that sort of steady state work, or really even the high intensity stuff, unless you love it and you're a really well-conditioned athlete. Try to switch to strength training, and it doesn't have to be that much. Like 2 days a week is plenty to start and really see some good benefits from it. And then how can you get in more walking? Schedule it. I like to say if it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen, right? So find a time when it works in your schedule. Maybe it's first thing in the morning, maybe it's right away when you're done with work, maybe it's after dinner. You could make a date with a friend or use it as your alone time. You could walk with your, kid or kiddos to the park and actually play with them instead of sitting on the bench. It's a great time to listen to podcasts, listen to audiobooks. You can also, now spring is kind of almost here. I don't know if it's not really here today in Minnesota, but it's coming. But so it should be much easier to get outside with the light and the weather. But, even if you're stuck in the house, you can just, get a lot of movement from inside your house, more than you think you can, just sort of doing chores and picking things up and inventing reasons to move every couple of minutes. I also like to set my timer, for maybe at the end of every hour to get up and move for 5 minutes, or, go get a glass of water, coffee, or something like that. Okay, so that is secret number 4. Strength training and walking is going to be the magical combination that's going to produce really, really good results. Too much cardio, too much HIIT is actually going to potentially sabotage your results and could be. And I've had clients that have seen this, and we make that shift and it's a dramatic change in their results. So any questions about that before we move on to the last secret?
What about like resistance bands for strength?
Good. If it's heavy for you, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's always sort of a spectrum, but especially I like resistance bands a lot as a good sort of plan B workout because you can do it at home. You can do it when you're traveling. You can do
That's
it in
why
your
I like
hotel
it.
room.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yes. And they're so little, like those are really great. Actually, for all my clients, I make workouts that you can do with resistance bands at home or do in a gym because, for the last 2 years, we couldn't get into a gym. And also a lot of women don't feel super comfortable in the weight room, but at home you could do it and get that good workout with those resistance bands. So
Awesome.
yeah, I'm a big fan. Plus they're cheap and weights are pretty expensive.
Yeah, especially now.
Mhm. Is there another question, anybody? No. Okay. Okay. Last question, last secret I'm going to share. Help. This is the worst. I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything you say. I'm eating like Goldilocks, not too much, not too little. I'm eating healthy. I'm strength training. I'm walking 10,000 steps a day. It's not working. Nothing is working. The secret is if your hormones are out of whack, your body is not going to release any of that stored body fat. And even if you're doing everything, quote unquote, right in terms of eating and movement and exercise, it's not going to let that go because it still feels like it's under attack. And so, what do I mean when I say your hormones? The two biggest ones that I see with my clients on a regular basis that affect your fat loss goals or weight loss goals is stress and sleep. Sleep, water, and walking, you guys, are literally like the three best secret weapons to fat loss and to weight loss. If you are not sleeping, your body is thinking that it's stressed, it's under attack, it is not able to heal, recover, and not feel like it can release the stored body fat. I like to think of it as like your car is like, or your body is like a premium race car, and sleep is like the the um the garage where the mechanics do the work on it. So you could be in the gym, doing the right workouts, and that might be like the tools, and you're eating all the right food, and that's like the nutrition, so the mechanics have the tools. But if you just keep driving the car and you never bring it to the garage, they're not going to be able to tune it up. They're not going to be able to fix it. So sleep is so important. And I find that we live in a culture of this kind of like, I'll sleep when I'll die mentality. People are bringing their phones and their devices to bed, checking email, scrolling through social media, and going down that little rabbit hole where like an hour later you were like, oh, how did I even get here? We tend to not have a bedtime, even though we have a wake up time. We just, watch TV. And then now with Netflix, everything is designed to get you just keep watching. And so all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm too tired to even brush my teeth. I'm going to drag myself to bed. That sort of stuff is really going to affect your fat loss goals, your weight loss goals. Stress is another one, and sleep and stress go hand in hand. If you're not sleeping, your body's under stress. If you're under a lot of stress, you're not going to be sleeping well. But sometimes they can be separated. So I've seen this with clients who have really demanding jobs, and they'll be doing everything right. It's almost like a clinical study where they're eating the same macros every day, doing the same workouts every week. They go on vacation and their weight drops 2 pounds just from being less stressed. Then they go back to work and it goes back up. I've seen it time and time again. It's because of the same reason that I mentioned earlier. Our body's evolutionary response to stress is to hold on to stored body fat, especially as women who are the gatekeepers of the future generations. We have to be able to sustain ourselves and sustain potential pregnancies. And so our body is going to be even more than men wanting to hold on to stored body fat if it perceives stress and if it thinks it's danger. And our body doesn't know that the stress is a demanding job and inflation and a crazy political climate. that it doesn't know that those are stressors versus, oh, we might not have enough food to get through the winter. It doesn't know. So it has the same response as it did hundreds of years ago, which is, I'm just going to hold on to this body fat so that I can sustain this person's life. So those two things, if you're not managing your stress and decreasing it, you're not going to see the weight loss that you want. If you're not sleeping, you're not going to see the weight loss that you want. This has been actually a personal struggle of mine for past couple of months. Those of you, I mean, you guys probably all know, I have a little baby. She's wonderful. She wakes up once or twice a night. And so I haven't gotten a full night's sleep since, before she was born, and we're, about to sleep train her. And I'm so excited because I know the benefits of getting a good night's sleep. And, so I'm trying to work around it and go to bed earlier and take naps when I can, but there's nothing that compares to actually just getting a good night's sleep. And then the last thing is your cycle as a woman, either your monthly cycle or, what stage of life you're in, if you're going through perimenopause or if you're postmenopause. Each one of those stages has you have a different body chemistry and different hormones, and there's ways to nourish your hormones and support them through those different stages. That is exactly what I'm going to be talking about next week. So I'm not going to go into detail on it tonight, but you have to acknowledge and nourish your body for the stage that it's in. Not for what you could do in high school or what you could do in college or what you see your friends doing or whatever. If you're not sort of nourishing your body for the specific stage that it's in, whether, you're going through your regular cycle or perimenopause or postmenopause, that is also going to affect your weight loss and long-term sustainable weight loss. For women who are postmenopause, I just give this little preview for next week. One thing that we see, and I hear this from I've read it, and then I hear from my clients, is the weight shifts to that midsection. And so women go from having, that classic hourglass shape to more of like an apple shape or that belly fat. It is the same for younger women who are incredibly stressed. And that is because of the stress and the hormones that are changing during perimenopause and postmenopause. The progesterone that you're losing helps your body deal with stress. So in both of those cases, if you can manage and decrease and deal with the stress, you're going to be able to get rid of that belly fat. If you're not, it doesn't matter what you eat or what you exercise because it's hormonal and it's your body chemistry. So I'll talk more about that next week. That'll be my little teaser for you guys to join me if you're interested in that.
Will you also talk about the effect of birth control that stops your cycle?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'll be talking about that too. Oh, and I said, right here, this says Wednesday, but it's actually going to be Monday. I don't know if I can change this. Anyway, it's going to be Monday, but I'll send information about it. Okay. So here's just four action steps you can take. Take nothing away from what we went tonight, but just these things. These should really help, and they're sort of like baby steps towards the things that we were talking about tonight. So number one, fuel and nourish your body by eating 4 meals a day. They don't need to be huge if you're eating 4 meals, but I really like to do breakfast, lunch, snack at 3 or 4 o'clock to avoid getting hangry at 5 o'clock and eating a whole bag of chips. And then dinner. Some clients, like to have 3 square meals a day. Some people like to have 6. You kind of have to feel it out, but I think 4 is always a really good place to start with. It ensures that you're getting that sort of continuous nutrient feed to your body, and also that you're getting at least 20 grams of protein per meal. This can be a huge increase from where a lot of women that I work with are eating naturally. And that protein is going to be everything in helping you feel full and satisfied. So you eat less, but stay full longer, help you build muscle so that you can put muscle on and increase your metabolism. and then keep your energy up and keep your brain power up. Number 2 is to drink a minimum of half your body weight in ounces of water every day. I really encourage everyone to have a water bottle and just always be drinking it. Drinking water helps you to stay full, to feel full. It increases your metabolism. And a lot of times, if you feel like you're craving something or you're hungry, you're just dehydrated. So just by increasing the amount of water that you're drinking without worrying too much about the calories, it will probably help you to not overeat and to, avoid some of those foods that you might be just munching on mindlessly. Number 3 is commit to parking at the back of the parking lot whenever you go somewhere. And I know we're not driving that much these days with COVID or working remotely and getting things delivered. But whenever you have the chance, just zip into the back of the parking lot. First of all, you'll spend a ton of time. You'll save a ton of time from driving around looking for the closest spot. But you can also just get like an extra 500 steps or something. And then also commit to going for a walk outside daily. Even if it's just 5 minutes, it's really going to boost your energy, boost your immune system, boost your metabolism, decrease your cortisol. It's going to be so, so good for you. And then the last thing is set a bedtime and a bedtime routine and commit to it. So often as adults, we have a time that we wake up, but we don't have a bedtime. And if you think of any kids you have or you've ever babysat, those kids have bed, or what is it, like bath, book, bed, right? And it's like a set routine with a bedtime. And it's because we love those kids and we want to set them up for success. And maybe we need some grown-up time, but mostly because it's good for the kids, right? And what's good for that beloved 4-year-old is good for you too. So set that bedtime and get some really good sleep without your phone or your TV or your device in the room. Okay, ladies, that is all I have for you tonight. I'm happy to stay on and answer any questions. I'm happy to stay on as long as you are, if anyone has questions. No. Was this helpful? Any thoughts?
Thanks for reviewing at the end. That was really good for me.
You're welcome.
Goodbye from Mooseburg.
All right, ladies, have a great night. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you
Bye.
enjoyed it and learned a lot. I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.